The stone had already been rolled back. Our monthly theme is mystery, and I love to tell the story of the death and life of Jesus from the perspective of all we know is the stone rolled back. That's actually the last objective fact we have in the whole story. Everything from then on, depending on which books of the Bible you read, some things were added later. Some things talk more about the foundation of the church that celebrates Jesus more than his death and his life. But right now we live in a period where the stone rolled back and anything is possible. We know that when the stone rolled back, it made sure that we understood for once and for always, we are truly made in the image of the divine. No matter which messages we bring to this planet, which messages we bring to our communities, which messages might get us in trouble or some good trouble or sometimes not so good trouble, we are worthy, we are holy, and we are divine in the same way. Divine in the same way of someone who gets unjust treatment, unjust punishment, and loses their lives for it. A central feature in the story of the death and life of Jesus that we cannot ignore because it is the piece of the story that is timeless is that if you speak the truth too loudly, the consequences might be severe. The consequences might be your life. And I don't want to glorify the sacrifice of being willing to give up our lives, our most holy gift, the one that is with us from our first breath to our last, the one that helps us understand what it truly means to have personhood. But I want us to be clear about what we're doing when we say that we are boldly bringing compassion, justice, and joy to this world. Are there limits on your joy? Are there limits on the joy that the people of God, that the divine people deserve? No. Are there limits to how much compassion we can have in community? I didn't ask how much compassion you can give. I don't care. There are no limits in community to how much we can care for one another. There are no limits with the divine resources that we have to believe that we can't feed every need, that we can't take care of every person, that there are not enough homes, not enough food, not enough love somewhere. Not enough love somewhere to make sure that the trans child of God can be affirmed in their wholeness, to make sure that the Black child of God knows that their skin tone is a blessing, not a reason for discrimination, that does not know enough love for the queer child of God, for the queer child of God to know that our sexuality itself is a blessing. You see, we know this central truth as people of faith, that we are already included. We know that we are centered, and we know it is our mission, our work here at this congregation and in so many others to make sure that others can be centered too. We grow from the margins, not by keeping the people who are already right here. If you already found the message, I need you to go speak it. If you already know that there's enough compassion for you, I need you to be extra compassionate. If you already know your ways to find joy together, I need you to celebrate. I need it to be a dance. I need us to know that we are in this together. The state, because the state itself The state that has repressive tools of violence, the state that will take your life if your truth is too bold, is designed to keep us from telling stories that help us all get free. If we can upset the apple cart, if we can say your rules don't make sense for everyone, if we can say your courts can't legislate my body, we can turn this whole thing upside down. And that is scary. That is scary to the powers that be. That's even scary for us because we know, as the story of the death and life of Jesus tells us, when we speak our truths loudly enough, the consequence might be our lives. And so deep down inside of each of us, I need us to find how much we're willing to risk. It's okay if we're not willing to give it all. Your life is your most sacred and holy gift. Don't give it away lightly. But if we are willing to risk together, there is more that we can do. If we are willing to risk together, we can make sure that the tools of state violence don't impact all of us. Because the truth about Easter is that someone loses their lives at the hand of the powers that be every day. And it does not always look like public and brutal killing as in Jesus's crucifixion. But when the state removes your ability to make decisions about your sexual and reproductive care, that is a loss of life that you imagined for yourself. When the state tells you that you can't play sports, receive medical care, or so much as use a restroom that you, only expert in the whole world on your body and your gender, when the state says you can't do the things that affirm your own body, that you know match your gender identity, that is a loss of life, of liberty, and integrity. And when the state tells you that you are less than, that you are less important because your skin is brown or black, or your people's history living on this Aina or Turtle Island, or with the dreaming that is older than any records the colonizers have, when they tell you that you are less than just for being who you are, how you are, in the only ways that you know how to be, that is a loss of life, of connection, and interdependence, which is one of our highest values as Unitarian Universalists. And so this brings the story of Easter into our daily lives. The truth about Easter is the story never stopped. It's thousands of years old, and we're part of it. And we get to tell a new Easter story. We get to set a new path forward. We get to find new ways to resist the tools that would keep us from speaking our beloved truth to those who most dearly need it. Our beloved truth that you are holy just as you are. You are saved just because you exist. And the way to salvation is beloved community. Because if we cannot see the truth about Easter in our daily lives, if we cannot know how holy and divine that we are, we will continue again and again and again to end the lives of those whose prophetic message of compassion, justice, and joy is written on their souls. How they show up for you and how they show up for me. Ever and ever and ever again. For now and for always. We know that state violence is the rule and not an exception. And we know that it is easier to kill something you don't understand than to figure out why you don't understand it, than it is to ask questions about why you didn't know it before now, than it is to understand that when I don't understand your truth, somehow I and we have failed to center it. But we know that that is our work to do. We know that that is our version of the story of Easter. And we know that the truth, the holy truth, is the only way forward, is together. All of these we hold in our hearts as we say together, Amen. Amen. Ashe. Ashe. And blessed be. Blessed be.